This is the Parish Line, a production of CGov, the Calcasieu Parish Government Channel, about the events, programs, and policies of the Calcasieu Parish Police Jury. On this month's program, we will look at challenges facing the new police jury in 2012. We will learn about a major planning and zoning convention that is coming to Lake Charles and hear about a national award given to the director of our Juvenile Justice Office. First, the Calcasieu Parish Police Jury has new leadership and 4 new members. At a January 9th organizational meeting, jurors selected a new president and vice president and took the oath of office for the new terms resulting from last fall's election. District 15's Les Farnham was unanimously elected president for 2012, and Dennis Scott of District 6 was selected as vice president.
I'd like to take this opportunity to thank all my colleagues for putting their confidence in me for the next year, and hopefully I can do the job that everybody expects, and this parish expects out of our president and this jury.
I'm looking forward to serving next to Mr. Les Farnham, and all of these things that he wants to see accomplished this year, I'm going to be his front runner. I'll do my absolute best for you. Thank my family and the guys that work for me, because without those guys, I couldn't be here today.
4 new jurors were seated: Ray Taylor of District 12, Nick Hunter of District 5, District 2's James Mayo, and District 4's Tony Guillory.
I'd like to take this moment to thank my wife, Dana, for all the hard work she put in to help in the election process. And I ran against some really great people, and it was a wonderful race. We did a lot of hard work, and we're all really more concerned about the service we could give back to our community, and that's what it's all about. So I look forward to the next 4 years working with everybody and helping Calcasieu Parish improve. Thank you.
What really made my day today start off great is this pen I got didn't come from anybody in the staff. It came from Dr. Charles Mackey. He gave me this pen I'm wearing. He promised me that all the wisdom that he had was going to be passed down to me through this pen. And I would like to recognize Dr. Mackey. He's been a mentor to me and a good friend. Dr. Mackey, it's an honor to be sitting in this chair, and I appreciate all you've done for me. Thank you.
I take great pride in being able to represent this district. I look forward to much work ahead. And again, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. President. I just want to say to everyone, and to my wife and my mother in the audience, and it's been a long, hard battle, and I'm so glad to be back to work with everybody up here. I became friends with a lot of people up here, and I look forward to working and helping the community, and I really look forward to being with you all.
Guillory returns to the police jury after serving from 2005 until 2008. Outgoing President Guy Brame and Vice President Shannon Spell were presented plaques for their service as officers in 2011. The jurors' terms last through the end of 2015. A new year brings new initiatives for the police jury. CGov's Jessica Williamson sat down with the parish administrator to discuss upcoming projects for 2012.
The Calcasieu Parish Police Jury made many accomplishments in 2011. The jury signed a 5-year contract for solid waste, saving taxpayers nearly $2 million. The ribbon was cut on 2 solid waste convenience centers. $26 million was spent on the elaborate parish road system, and Calcasieu was the first to have their redistricting plan approved. Parish Administrator Brian Beam tells us what can be expected in 2012.
As we look ahead in 2012, it's important to kind of take a step back and say, what affects the things that we do in parish government? And one thing, maybe more than anything else, is the population shift we've seen in Calcasieu over the past generation. We've seen growth in the parish overall. If you go back to 1970, compare it to 2010, we have grown 118% in population unincorporated. If you added up all the population in the cities in the parish from 1970 to 2010, it's essentially flat. So what does that mean? That means we've got a large demand for services that a generation ago people weren't even living there. That affects everything from roads to sewerage to drainage, even things like mosquito control, where we didn't have to cover populations. Now we do, while we still handle the cities as well, because that's a parish-wide service. So anything we talk about that are big issues typically go back to a lot of these population shifts, which create new demands and some strains on our services that we can provide to the public.
The proposed Unified Development Code plans to solve some of the population shift issues before they begin.
Because of all of the population shifts over the past 20 to 30 years, one of the things that's incumbent upon the elected body and the staff is to look ahead and say what has changed, how do we respond to that and looking ahead 20 years. In 2011, we went through that process, what was termed a Unified Development Code process, or the UDC. Frankly, it got a lot of information out there that was misunderstood by much of the public. I think once most people that we had the chance to sit down with one-on-one were explained what this was, it really makes a lot of sense. But we also realized we probably tried to do a little too much as far as the scope of that process. So the police jury, I think, wisely just paused a bit, and in 2012, take those in more bite-sized pieces. For example, the provisional ordinance that requires community systems for sewer was passed in 2011. What are the main focuses looking ahead? Because you still have development pressures. You have these, when developments are built, they do create issues that involve transportation, involve drainage. We want to avoid things like flooding and traffic at school intersections and a lot of safety things. And so a lot of those go back to standards. And so we're going to just take that in more manageable pieces. The public will have plenty of opportunities for involvement in that, just like they did in 2011. But how they go forward, the jury working with the Planning and Zoning Board as well, what are the highest priorities, that will have to be defined in 2012. And it really will depend on how those priorities come out as to where we go.
A sewer inspection program was passed by the jury in 2011. Between 40 and 50% of mechanical sewer systems are not operating properly. The program will begin in 2012.
The other leg that was important that was accomplished in 2011 with sewage is passage of what we call a provisional ordinance that deals with new subdivisions and requiring community systems in those subdivisions unless it's minor, a smaller number of lots. What that will do is stem the problem getting worse. The community systems, as these get built, the parish needs to look at possibly operating them. And we haven't been in that business before, but it's really hard for any private entities to keep operating those over many years. We feel that's achievable, but there's a lot of details to work out, but that's a big issue looking ahead. Extending sewerage from cities outside of cities to these fringe areas is the other focus. That's the toughest one to deal with because it's a lot of money, and it's always harder to run sewerage or utilities in areas that are already developed. It's much more expensive, much more of a coordination issue, but the jury has said this is very important to research and put something before the public that is feasible and let them decide if it's something they want. So we continue to work on that major issue in 2012.
Burton Coliseum is receiving capital improvements to the roof, concession stand areas, and restrooms, primarily funded with hurricane recovery funds. A maintenance tax renewal will also be proposed this year.
This tax funds the operation of not only the Burton Coliseum complex, which consists of the Coliseum itself, an arena, and an ag barn, but it also funds the facilities for the county agent, which is located right nearby, and monies also go to the West Cal Community Center Authority, just south of Sulphur. So it is a parish-wide tax. It is a very important tax, and we are looking at that as a renewal sometime probably before the end of 2012.
Two other major projects will be completed in 2012.
One of the areas that parishes always look at is economic development. How do you generate economic development? One way is infrastructure, and there is a south frontage road along I-10 just south of Sulphur that the parish began in 2011. It will be complete in early 2012 and utilities be run after that. This is really for the purpose of generating traffic off of the interstate. It can do a tremendous amount of business if you pull them off the interstate. In this case, they will come into Sulphur and utilize businesses not only along that frontage road, but it brings them off and to go into other places that already exist in town. This kind of thing is done all over the country, and it's a big step forward for us here in Calcasieu. So the frontage road in south of I-10 near Sulphur is a big focus in 2012. By now, many people are familiar with the Seed Center, which is a cooperative endeavor between the parish, City of Lake Charles, McNeese, and the Economic Alliance. And it is a great project where it will be a business epicenter, if you will, for southwest Louisiana. The parish is responsible for constructing the Seed Center. This is primarily funded through hurricane recovery funds, similar to Burton Coliseum. And the joint project means we're all working toward the same goal. So you'll have a business incubator there, you will have the actual Alliance offices there, and anything related to economic development will be there. That will be the focus for the whole 5-parish region. In addition to that, McNeese will actually have some classes and faculty located there for entrepreneurship and other economic development courses. That construction will be completed in 2012 toward the end of the year, and that's a major multi-year planning task that will come to fruition in 2012.
An ongoing project will make some major headway. River Bluff Park will receive improvements to the boat launch area in what is only one part of the project.
Calcasieu Parish over the last decade or so has put a great emphasis on its park system, and that's in response to citizens saying this is something they want to see. The one that's the latest we're very proud of, the police jury had vision on, is in River Bluff Park, which is a park in the Moss Bluff area alongside the river. It will be different from any of our other parks, and in 2011 a conceptual plan was approved by the jury after a great amount of public input. In 2012, the boat launch at River Bluff is the main project, and it will be redesigned, reconstructed to be much better, have a lot more capability for parking. The launch area will be better, and that is already there, so we're improving what's there already in 2012. That will be a major project. Future phases will depend on the ability to fund and the priorities for what will come next.
For the Parish Line, I'm Jessica Williamson.
The Calcasieu Parish Office of Planning and Zoning is requesting residents whose property or structure experienced flooding as a result of the January 9th rain event to report their information by accessing the police jury's website. Data gathered from this request will be used as reference material that will help better prepare for future flooding events. Information will not be used for emergency assistance or rescue purposes. One of our parish directors has received a national award. Here's Margaret Higgins.
Calcasieu Juvenile Justice Services Director Dane Boland has received a prestigious national award for his development of the Multi-Agency Resource Center to serve troubled youth in the parish. Boland received the 2011 Louisiana Champion for Change Award presented by the John D. and Catherine T. MacArthur Foundation in Washington, D.C. last month. Boland's ability to work with juveniles, his leadership skills, and tireless dedication are recognized by his colleagues.
Dane is able to see things that aren't evident at first glance, and he can see where things fit together and who has a stake in the community in terms of, this case, juvenile justice. And his ability to pull that vision together with multiple parties working in alignment is what sets him apart from others.
When I think of Dane and what makes him a good administrator and his work that he produces, I think the number one thing I think of is to describe him as he's a doer. And when many administrators delegate and tell other people to do it, Dane doesn't have any problems getting his hands dirty and getting down there and doing what needs to be done so that we have the best programs and the best things for juveniles in this parish.
I credit Dane with bringing the concepts of juvenile justice reform to our parish. He got people excited about the benefits. He demonstrated how to implement the changes even within existing funding levels. He held stakeholders accountable. And then he demonstrated that the changes were resulting in better outcomes for youth and the community. I've worked with Dane for over 20 years. As a social service provider, I respect how he has kept his focus on what's best for youth and families. His leadership inspires us to be a better agency.
Dane's always happy at work. He always sees the positive things. He motivates staff to perform to their utmost level for children. And he's just a great leader, always encourages people to better themselves, learn more, educate themselves as to the issues of children.
I've enjoyed working with Dane on a daily basis for the last 17 years. Embodied within this progressive person is the most important trait of a leader, that is humbleness. He is always striving to be better, to be a true champion of change.
I think what makes Dane a good leader is he's able to combine his tremendous work ethic with his compassion in working with children and families.
Dane is one of those rare individuals that is good with information and with people. So he's able to produce results that are empirical and win all sorts of awards with his team, but he also knows how to get people together and work together for causes they have in common.
At the December 15th police jury meeting, Boland was recognized for his award.
Dane is one of 7 persons in the country to get this, and he was in good company up there, but we, of course, are very proud of him and the whole staff out there at Juvenile Services. Dane, I know if he spoke to you, would say it's a great team effort, and it is, and it's a testament to his leadership, but it's a very special honor, and we certainly appreciate you recognizing it.
Thank you, Mr. Beam. Dane, would you like to come say a few words? We'd like to hear what it was about. Tell us about Washington, D.C.
It was cold. It was beautiful, actually. Decorated for Christmas. Got to go to the White House, but yeah, I got to kind of echo what Mr. Beam said. It's about teamwork. I mean, you got a great team out there. Yeah. They say you're only as good as the people you work for and the people you work with.
According to the Models for Change website, the annual award is presented by the Foundation to honor individuals working with Models for Change in their states who have positively affected the lives of court-involved youth, their families, and communities in ways that provide opportunities for these kids that are pathways away from delinquency and reoffending, and that increase their potential to be successful in school and in family, peer, and community relationships. For the Parish Line, I'm Margaret Higgins.
You can visit the Parish website to learn more about the Models for Change Award. You are watching the Parish Line, about the events, programs, and policies of the Calcasieu Parish Police Jury. Bridging the Gap is this year's theme at the Louisiana American Planning Association Convention. J.P. Booth brings us details of that upcoming event.
Whether you're employed, elected, or appointed, if you're in the planning field, you'll be at the Louisiana Planning Association's 2012 conference later this month.
From January 25th to January 27th, the Acadiana section of the Louisiana Association of Planning Officials is going to host their state conference here in Lake Charles, and it's the first year it'll be held in Lake Charles since probably the 1980s. So we're excited to finally have it here and be able to showcase our area.
The Burge de Lac Casino is our host hotel this year, and all of the events are located there. We also have 2 very exciting, well actually 3 exciting mobile tours. We've got one that's going to go through Cameron Parish to highlight some of their recovery projects, one that's going to take a look at downtown Lake Charles and the promenade, and one that's going to visit the Palermo Mound here in Calcasieu Parish.
A convention like this is always exciting for planning officials because it's a chance for us to get together and talk about war stories and things that we've done right, things we've done wrong, how we can improve in the future. And the thing is, in this day and age where it's become so critical on how governments spend taxpayer dollars, it's even more important for planning officials to get their jobs done well, because we have to ensure that our elected officials spend their money correctly, are accountable to the public, and make sure that, especially where infrastructure is involved, that we're getting the biggest bang for the buck. Typically it's going to be planning staff members and consultants. There's also a small component of the conference that's geared specifically towards planning commission members. A few years ago, the state legislature passed a regulation that said that all planning commission members have to have at least 4 hours of specific training, so that takes place here, so we'd like to have those folks here. And this year, our conference is really putting an emphasis on having elected officials involved, because there has been a gap, which is actually the theme of the conference, bridging the gap between actual planning and the implementation, and getting the funding there and getting capital improvement plans to reflect the actual funding dollars. And we want to get elected officials excited about planning and see how it can really impact their constituents' quality of life.
What we're looking for this year is an opportunity for those elected officials to understand better what their role is in planning. We want to give them the opportunity to talk with each other, to understand that planning is something that we can all work through. We want to give them the opportunity to see that there are others in our state who have some of the same obstacles that we do here in Calcasieu Parish, and that we can all get through them together if we share those best practices. We want them to know that there are practical applications to planning. We want to share with them the best practices for implementing plans, and that's what we hope to do this year.
For the Parish Line, I'm J.P. Booth.
Several agencies are sponsoring the event, including the Calcasieu Parish Police Jury, City of Lake Charles, and IMCAL. Police Jury staff has been tasked with creating quilt squares for a Louisiana bicentennial quilt. Each parish in the state is contributing a square to the quilt, celebrating the 200th anniversary of Louisiana's statehood. The quilt is titled Stitch by Stitch, Binding Together, and will be revealed in April. Calcasieu's square was appliqued, hand-sewn, and embroidered, and took about 18 hours to complete. We'll reveal the quilt once complete on later editions of the Parish Line. 2012 marks the 4th year for an alcohol-free Mardi Gras for kids, tweens, and teens. Molly Morgan has the story.
Looking for a safe but fun place for the kids to hang out on Mardi Gras Day? No worries, because the Zone will be present once again. Project No coordinator Mary Kay Alamo tells us more.
4 years ago, this is our 4th annual, we kind of thought of it spur of the moment. It was a couple weeks before Mardi Gras, and I thought about it, and we said, well, let's put something together. And it was literally a roped-off parking lot. We didn't have anything in it. We didn't have anything to offer. And then the next year, we partnered with the Louisiana Campaign for Tobacco-Free Living, and we were able to put it in, this is the police jury parking lot, and took over. But a lot of the community, we have a huge community response, and lots of volunteers come out and help, and it's we've noticed that even the city also wanted the Mardi Gras to be more family friendly. We advertise as a family friendly Mardi Gras. So we thought, you know, Southwest Louisiana is, you associate everything that we do is surrounded with drinking and crawfish boils, barbecues, whatever. So we wanted a more family-oriented atmosphere for kids, just to show them that, you know, you can have fun. It doesn't have to be, alcohol doesn't have to be at the center of everything.
Alamo encourages anyone to take time and volunteer at the Zone.
If you're interested in volunteering, if you belong to a group, or if you have and you guys want to volunteer, or if you're an employee of the police jury, or any of the community agencies, Kiwanis, any of we welcome them. We need volunteers to man the jumps, to keep everybody safe, help with the food, and just to walk around to keep the kids safe. And the sheriff's department will also be out here that day to help us make sure that it's a safe area.
Project No, Calcasieu Parish Police Jury, and the Louisiana Campaign for Tobacco-Free Living are working together once again. Region 5 Coordinator Patricia Prudhomme explains.
Louisiana Campaign for Tobacco-Free Living is a program of Louisiana Public Health Institute. And the goal, the work that we're doing right now, is to ensure 100% smoke-free workplaces for all employees in the state of Louisiana. Mary Kay Alamo, who at the time we had a grant here through the state for Project No. They were looking to do a alcohol-free family zone, and we were familiar with that happening in some other cities, Lafayette, Alexander, many cities do it now. So we knew that together, one, we could pull our funding and then our resources. It was a great opportunity for us, tobacco-free for kids. Many benefits to that. One, this is family, it supports family and family activity. Two, we can help with messaging around preventing not only alcohol initiation by young people, but tobacco. It's much easier to help people not start than it is certainly to deal with afterwards, helping them to quit. So all of that fit perfectly with the mission that we have at TFL. And for the community, it was just a great community event to touch everybody. I mean, thousands of people come through here that day, and it just was a perfect fit for the two organizations. And the city really, by the reception that we received and the support that both the parish and the city of Lake Charles gave it, was something that was needed.
There'll be all types of activities and games for kids of all ages.
There are no limits. A lot of the jumps have those, just individual size requirements, but we tried to have something for every age. We had some craft areas that the smaller ones that maybe couldn't get in a jump had some areas for them coloring and that kind of thing, all the way up to we had what I call more teenage, older kid, where it's throwing a ball, or that kind of the joust where they're knocking each other off of things, so, which obviously is an older kid, but we really tried hard so that if a family that has a wide range of kids, that everybody had something to do to occupy them during the day.
This year's Mardi Gras Fun at the Zone will be an exciting place for kids, tweens, and teens.
February 21st from noon to 5 o'clock, we'll have fun jump set up, free food, hot dogs, lots of activities going on that day. We have face painting. We're going to do ice cream in a bag. That was very popular last year. Some of our employees at the Office of Juvenile Justice Services, they come out and do that with the kids, and it was a huge hit. There was a line all day long for it. And hopefully we'll have weather like we do today, and just invite the family. It's a very family-oriented day.
For more information about the zone, contact Mary Kay Alama at 721-3800 and come join in the fun. For the Parish Line, I'm Molly Morgan.
You can bring out the entire family for free fun activities, entertainment, and food on Fat Tuesday in the zone. The longest-serving Calcasieu Parish Police Juror has retired. Dr. Charles Mackey enjoyed a surprise send-off last month. Here's Jacob Teresina.
Dr. Mackey was first elected to the police jury in 1985 and served 2 years of his 6.5 terms as president. At his retirement ceremony on December 9th, his family, friends, and colleagues gathered to pay tribute.
Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome. This is a great moment here for all of us here at the police jury. This afternoon, we're here to honor, to show our appreciation and our admiration for Dr. Charles Mackey, our most senior police juror of 26.5 years.
Dr. Mackey, a lot of things that people don't realize about Dr. Mackey, he's a very giving person. He's given countless hours to of his professional services to those that are less fortunate than you and I.
You've always been proud of this place, just as you said a while ago. Proud of Lake Charles, proud of Calcasieu Parish. But Calcasieu Parish and Lake Charles are extremely proud of you and thankful for you for the service that you brought.
Dr. Mackey was the police juror for District 5 in Central Lake Charles. While on the police jury, he was a liaison for the Office of Juvenile Justice Services, Calcasieu Parish Library Board, and many others. Dr. Mackey was also a founding member of the OJJS Children and Youth Planning Board in 2005.
When you're in public service and you see someone like Dr. Mackey, who has served as long as he has with such distinction and with such honor and integrity, it is truly something to commemorate and to congratulate.
When I think of Dr. Mackey, there are many words come to mind: commitment, service, sense of humor, a unique sense of humor, just many other traits. But the one that stands out the most for me, and Mark mentioned it, is integrity. And Dr. Mackey has great integrity, and over the years he has been an integral part of building the solid reputation that this police jury has.
I'm just really blown away. My wife did it to me again. Gave me no idea what was going on, and the fact that y'all came up here just has really touched my heart. It'll be something I'll always remember, and I thank you so much. God bless.
This is Jacob Teresina for the Parish Line.
Dr. Mackey's career is also remarkable in that he is the only juror in parish history to have served with 3 different parish administrators: Rodney Vincent, Mark McMurray, and Brian Bean. That's the Parish Line for the month of January. Thanks for watching. For more information on any of these stories, or to see the program online, visit our website at cptj.net.